We spend a lot of time talking about the secrets to success, right? But what about the anatomy of a failure? Today, we're going to dig into a pretty serious cautionary tale pulled straight from leadership training material. We're looking at what happens when leadership doesn't just mess up, but completely collapses. So let's just jump right into the source material. I want you to listen to these words: burnt out, fail, and this one's the kicker: despiteful. I mean, think about that word. This isn't just about a team that's kind of checked out. No, this is a team that's become actively hostile. The stakes here are incredibly high, and this quote really sets the stage for how bad things can get. And here's the thing you gotta understand. This isn't just bad luck. It's not a random disaster. The material we're looking at presents this whole collapse as a predictable, step-by-step process. It's a domino effect, and you can trace it all the way back to a single weak spot. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna follow that chain reaction. You know, every big building needs a solid foundation, and leadership is exactly the same. So we're starting at the very bottom, with what the source calls the foundation. This is where the first cracks, the ones you can't even see yet, start to form. Now, what's so fascinating here is that word inevitable. It doesn't say a collapse is likely if you're missing these core traits. It says it's a sure thing. It's guaranteed. Now, it doesn't list every single trait, but it's clear that things like personal resilience, self-awareness, accountability, these are the non-negotiables. If they're not there, it's like the original sin that every other failure is going to grow out of. Okay, so you've got this cracked foundation. Where does the stress start to show? Well, it's not with the team, and it's not in the company's bottom line. The very first casualty is the leader themselves. The breakdown starts from the inside and works its way out. Before anyone else even knows there's a problem, before the team has a clue, the rot has already started. All that pressure is building up on that weak foundation, and that first domino, it's about to fall internally. It all kicks off with this slow, quiet erosion of the leader's own ability. And boom, there it is. The first consequence anyone can actually see. A leader who doesn't have that core resilience just can't handle the pressure of the job. They burn out. And when that happens, their most basic duty, actually getting things done, it just grinds to a halt. This is the exact moment that internal weakness becomes a huge external problem. So this isn't just a symptom, it's the critical first step in this whole public unraveling. The leader's personal failure to cope and to deliver is the trigger. It sets the entire downward spiral in motion. Everything that's about to happen next is a direct result of this one internal collapse. All right, so what happens when a team looks up and sees their leader failing to get things done? Well, the problem spreads. The leader's personal crisis is now the team's crisis, and the whole dynamic just flips from support to straight-up opposition. And this slide just lays it out so clearly, right? It shows the two paths. A strong leader, they build unity and support. But a failing leader, one who's burnt out and ineffective, they create something way, way darker. The team becomes despiteful. They are now actively against you. The whole relationship is just fundamentally broken. The source material shows this chilling progression. First, it's an emotion, that despitefulness. Then, that feeling turns into action against the leader. But it doesn't stop there, and this is the scary part. The damage spreads, and pretty soon the team starts working against the entire organization. The leader's personal failure has now put the whole mission in jeopardy. And that brings us to the final act. After the leader has failed on the inside and the team has turned against them on the outside, the very last pillar holding up their authority just comes crashing down. You can see the whole tragic story laid out right here. And it all makes sense, doesn't it? The leader's internal failure, because they were missing those core traits, leads to the team becoming despiteful. That open hostility, combined with the lack of results, means respect is completely lost. And once respect is gone, well, the leader's fate is sealed. What people perceived as incompetence is now their reality. And that's it. That's the end of the line. According to this material, the outcome is final. It's devastating. There's no coming back from this point. The person is a leader in title only. They've lost all respect, and they've proven they just can't lead the team anymore. The collapse is complete. So we've traced this path of failure from that first little crack in the foundation all the way to a total collapse. But this whole cautionary tale, it leaves us with one really important lingering thought. It forces you to look all the way back to the beginning. So the source material shows us exactly what happens when those core traits are missing. And it kind of forces us to ask, well, what's the bedrock? What is it that a leader just cannot do without? Based on the collapse we just walked through, you'd have to say resilience to stop burnout, accountability to get things done, and probably emotional intelligence to keep the team's trust. These aren't just nice to haves, they're absolutely non-negotiable. So the final question really isn't just for thinking about. It's a practical checklist. Which of these traits is your foundation built on?